So I just want to say the last few weeks of my life have just been so chaotic, but I have took the chaotic part and turned it into gratitude. When I say that everything was just hitting so hard, I was just over it. I was over it. We were supposed to take a flight to Orlando on July 9th. Flight got canceled. Our flight didn't leave. I got to the airport at 5:30 a.m. and I stayed at the airport for a good 12 hours, all the way till like 7:40, 7:50 p.m., almost 8 o'clock at night. And I was just so over it by that time, because it was like, why didn't we take our flight? We sat here all day long for y'all to tell us that our flight was canceled at 8 o'clock. When you delayed our flight at 7 a.m., because we were supposed to fly out at 7 a.m. Our flight got delayed from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then at 11 a.m., we boarded the plane and we sat in the bay for, if you call it a bay, we sat in the bay for 2.5 hours, and once the plane hits the 3-hour mark that they haven't went nowhere, you have to get off the plane. You can't sit on the plane for no longer than 3 hours. That was a turnaround, and they let us go back into the airport and sit and wait. They didn't cancel our flight. The flight was still, I guess, pending. I don't know. They said it was because of weather, but at the beginning it was because the plane needed a part. And when they said the plane needed a part, I'm already thinking oh, I don't know if I want to get on this plane. I end up in somebody's Bermuda Triangle, or like the show Manifest. I just rather not. So at that point, I was just like, I'm just ready to go home. Y'all could just send me home, I'm good. But I was a little irritated because we sat there from 5 in the morning all the way to 8 p.m. at night. And it's just if we would have drove, we would have been there by then. So I was irritated. So I'm I just got to get away. I just need a getaway from home, because just the area I live in, I don't be wanting to have my kids just out here and anything can happen. They could be an innocent bystander for anything. It just be too much going on out here. And I just feel I don't have no breather. I can't go outside and do yoga. I can't take them outside to ride bikes or ride scooters. I don't want nobody coming up in my yard, snatching my kids. So it's just it's real iffy for me. I'm I just need to get away. I really need to get away. And it was to the point that I was I'm ready to move. I don't even like it here. I don't like it here. I don't want to be here. I just was over it. So I ended up going to my grandmother's house on that Sunday, which is the 16th, when we were supposed to come back. And I had a play date with my uncle's girlfriend kids and my kids. They played on the water slide in my grandmother's house, and we cooked out and just had a little family time, which was cool. Jeff calls me, he's yeah, he sent a picture. He's I'm getting bit by bugs. I'm what you mean you getting bit by bugs? He little black bugs, they jump. I'm black bugs that jump. I'm that's fleas. I'm how do we get fleas? How you get bit by fleas? He's I don't know. I'm well, did you have anybody in a car? How you getting bit by fleas? He I don't know. He I'm just getting bit and I don't know what to do. And I'm okay, well, you gonna have to bomb. You gonna have to bomb the house, bomb the car. He's why I can't bomb? Because we got somebody that rents out our basement. That's a whole separate entrance. He's I can't bomb because we have such and such a day. I'm all right, well, you have to do something. You need to leave. He where I'm gonna go? I'm go to mother house. But then he well, I got fleas in the car too. I'm okay, well, bomb the car and stay in the house. He I don't want to stay in the house. it was just so much going on. Like, I'm just like, okay, you know what? Just breathe and relax. So this is on Monday. He's telling me all of this. And I'm like, well, you have to bomb the car because you can't pick us up and have the kids in the car with the fleas. And that's not going to work. You know, I don't want the kids getting bit by fleas. He's like, all right. So he drives to my mom's house. And he bombed the car there. He stayed the night at my mom's house. He comes to pick us up on Wednesday from my grandmother's house, Wednesday morning. And I just helped him handle everything. The exterminator came and they sprayed some stuff. And I'm happy we did come because the exterminator, when he came and he said he's going to hit the baseboards. And Jeff was like, no. Y'all gotta spray, like deeply spray, like get into everything spray. It turns out the fleas came from a dead bird that was in the attic. And the dead bird was in the attic about 3 months ago. The pest control came and he went up in the attic and he took the bird and threw it out the window. He didn't bring it through the house. He threw it out the window because I guess that's what they're supposed to do for their safety laws and everything. And went downstairs and picked it up and threw it out. But he didn't spray when he did it. And I'm not sure if they're supposed to spray, but if they don't, they need to put that in a safety handbook, that's what they're going to do so nobody don't have fleas in their attic. Like I did. So he didn't spray, and that's what led to the fleas up in the attic. And the attic is through my daughter's room. So you go in her room, and when you look up, you'll see the attic. So the flea was coming down and hit her room first, and that's why my youngest son was bit up real bad. And that's why when their dad went in that room, he was getting bit up. He was just saying they was jumping on him real bad in there. So they was just like migrating down, basically. They left from the attic and they was going down. They was in the kitchen real bad. And I guess the boys' room, they don't be in there. So I don't know if it was fleas real bad in there. But that's towards the back of the house, like close to the attic too. Anyway, the exterminator came and they sprayed on Wednesday. And once they sprayed, all of us left and went and stayed in my mother's house. When I say this was like one of the worst things that I could have did, it brought back so many memories of when I stayed with my mom before I even moved out. And staying with my mom is so chaotic because she have her way of doing things and I have my way of doing things. I'm not a dirty person, so I clean up, which is cool, but I'm just like, I'm not being there long anyway. So, you know, I feel like all I should have to do is clean up and make sure everything is together. My kids, I buy my own food. I don't even eat like what she eats. So I buy my kids their own food, and you know, they eat separate. We eat separate from everybody else. But she gets in this thing where she just gets like so irritated and frustrated from all the people in her house and nobody doing what she wants them to do. And it's just like, at that time it was like, yeah, it's time to go. I'm ready to go back home. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. Like, I was getting so frustrated and irritated. Like, we just two different people. We just live two different lifestyles. And then with me being on like my you know, trauma releasing, healing journey I'm on, I just can't be around her type of energy. I love my mom to death, but I just can't be around her kind. Like, I can't. We just don't resonate with certain things. So at that point I was just so ready to go. It was too many people in there. It just wasn't, my soul just wasn't resonating, and I was like, I have to go. Just too much going on. So I ended up leaving and I came home. And I made sure I came home. We had to bomb the house. And then once we bombed, I came home and I was like, forget that. I'm about to give it a trial and see what's going on. Like, how is everything? And I gave it that trial and it's been good ever since. And when I say I'm so grateful to be back home, I am grateful to be back home. Like, the gratitude of me having my own spot, that I was such in a daze of just like, I want to move, I want to leave, I hate it here, I can't, I'm going to just go back and stay with my mom for a little bit and then get everything back together. That little week, that little bit of time of just me being gone from my home for a week, going to stay with my mom had me like, no. Going to stay with anybody had me like, no. Because even when I went to my grandmother's house, I felt like the kids was like kind of in their way. Like, my grandfather works from home and my kids, you know, was in the house because I didn't take their scooters or anything down there with me for them to do. And then a park that was by our house wasn't really a park. It's like a little playground at a school, and it wasn't really a playground, so they didn't really want to do that. And if I went to the pool, it was okay, but the whole point is just, I was just ready to come back home. I missed home. I missed being with Jeff. I just wanted to come back home. And just the staying with anybody, just me having my own spot made me realize that, like, I need my own spot. And it made me realize how grateful I was to have my own spot, because staying with people just wasn't it. It just wasn't it. Like, and my grandmother and my mother are two totally opposite beings, but my grandmother got her ways, my mother has her ways, and I would prefer to stay with my grandmother because she more like on my type of wave, but my mother is just my comfort zone. And I think just with me having like a Cancer moon, I adapt more to my mother because that's my mother, and I just gravitate more to her. But that time of just staying in her house had me like, no, this is not it. This is not it, baby girl. You're gonna have to do something different. Like, this is not it. So that's why I came home. But I just say all that to say that, like, the gratitude for my own house, my own space really came in that week of me not being home. And I just really appreciate my own space and my own place. The way life just presented that to me was just like, yeah, watch what you say, watch what you ask for, because you could easily lose what you have and put you in a place where you really don't be, when you already had what you had that made you comfortable, but now you lost it because you just not having the gratitude. So gratitude at its all high right now, because it's like, yeah, I really appreciate my place, even though it's not, you know, grassy backyard with, you know, space for my kids to run around and play. It's still my place, and it's their comfort space, and it's my comfort space, and I just really appreciate it. That was my week. The message is just gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Be thankful for what you have before it's gone. Peace.